Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. There's No Crying in Crochet. This is the podcast where we try to take your everyday crochet frustrations and give you some answers, some ideas to help you out. And my name is Biz. I am from Busy Crochet. And this is my cohort in crime.
I am Debbie from Madam Stitch.
And we are here every single Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Alrighty, so this week we are going to talk about moms because that's coming up. But let's go through some business real quick before we do that. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to Busy Crochet and Madam Stitch Crochet. We're trying to always put out new content that is going to help you with tutorials, crochet stitches, our podcast every single week, that kind of stuff. And then if you are watching on Facebook, make sure that you give StreamYard permission to display your name so that we can see you in the chat. And we love it when you chat with you guys. So make sure that you say hi when you come in. Alrighty, ma'am, Miss Debbie, what has your week been like? We talked a little bit about it, but tell me what you've been up to.
Biz. Yeah. Well, I'm going to pop my cough drop right now because I can feel it coming on.
If that doesn't give you an indication of what this week's been like.
Right. So if you watched our podcast last week, we were suffering. Mm-hmm. And I hope you didn't suffer with us because we tried our hardest to get through the episode. Yeah. But this is the cold that's just stuck around and sapped my energy and done all the coughing things and stuff like that. So if I don't have sound on, it's because I'm trying not to cough audibly.
Yes.
But other than that, it's just been business as usual. What about you, Biz?
I am on the very upswing of this bronchitis thing that I had for weeks. But I was just telling Debbie, I'm like, I highly recommend dioxycycline. That is apparently the antibiotic they gave me, and that sucker's been working a charm. So I'm feeling good. I have not been coughing. I've been doing really well. I am actually getting some energy back, and it's been really nice. So I have one sock I've got to finish knitting, and then I'm going to start a crochet project. So other than that, I really haven't been doing a whole lot. It's just been lots of healing, hanging out with the baby, hanging out with the family, that kind of stuff.
Same. I've been doing a lot of crocheting on the road trip blanket.
Oh, yes. I have watched that.
It's gorgeous.
Turning out absolutely beautiful.
I
love the color scheme that you've gone with.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to be talking about moms for actually the next couple of weeks. Because Mother's Day is coming up. This week we wanted to talk about honoring moms who crochet. Next week is going to be a slightly different subject, still kind of on the same theme. But we want to talk about, it's not just us, because we're moms and we crochet, but also like those that taught us before, that kind of stuff. And how do we honor a mom who crochets? So we're always looking for an excuse to crochet something. So maybe we could find some ways to crochet something for those that crochet. What would you do?
Well, I know in my case, if I know the person crochets, it changes how I decide what I'm going to make for them. And sometimes I'm a little reticent to make them something because I think, well, they could make it themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they know better what they like than I do.
Mm.
But I think we have to remember that I always heard this saying, don't worry so much about what the gift is because the person is going to like it because you gave it to them.
Yes.
Right. So, and I think a lot of us
behind it thing.
Well, I don't know about you, Biz, but I don't crochet a lot of stuff for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I give it away.
Yeah.
So a lot of crocheters are that way. We're just so giving with our crochet that maybe that mom who crochets deserves to have something made just for her.
I love it when I receive crocheted items or knitted items, whatever. Something that somebody else has put an effort into. Love gifts like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But let's talk a little bit about how crochet and motherhood are kind of the same thing. Excuse me. We both of them are from an act of love, right?
Hmm.
Both of them require a certain amount of patience, and both of them require a certain amount of creativity.
Well, I will say that children require more patience than crochet, depending upon what you're making. But I agree wholeheartedly with you. We do crochet because we love it. We love to give it to people. We love other people to experience it. And it's a handmade gift. There's just nothing like it.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that. Um, all right, so let's talk about who. I want to talk about the people that taught us how to crochet because um, where they fit in this sequence. My person that taught me how to crochet was my grandma when I was 8, and it was just mostly to keep me out of her hair. But it's so funny. I think about that as like she wanted to give me something to do to get me out of her hair. Except that I remember she sat there for so long, teaching me how to hold the hook right, how to hold the yarn right. And if you've ever taught anybody how to crochet, it's more than just a here, sit down and figure this out thing. Stay out of my hair.
Absolutely right. I mean, that in general, that's the biggest question I get is how do I hold my hook and yarn?
Yeah, yeah,
And really, it's a personal choice. But, having someone sit with you and help you figure that out is such a treasure.
yeah. And she really sat with me for quite a while, and corrected me when I wasn't holding it right, or corrected me when I wasn't putting it in the right hole, or that kind of stuff. And I think I moved fairly quickly from just a chain onto single crochets because I remember her working me into making like this little infant baby hat. I think I actually have it taped on my wall back here. But I remember I moved on really, really quickly, and that excited her, and that made her really happy. But then I lived so far away from her, so anytime that I had questions on how do you do this or how do you do that, I had to call her on the phone, and she would teach me how to crochet over the phone. What a mess! But did you have anybody else who taught you how to crochet?
My grandma,
Hmm.
but I honestly don't remember the motivation. It's just I remember her being the one. I don't remember us sitting down and actually doing it. I just remember that once I knew how to crochet, I was so enamored with it that I couldn't put it down.
Same, same. I was obsessed with it.
Um, One of the things that my grandmother would make, she would take regular hand towels, cut them in half, and put a topper on it to
Oh
tie
yeah.
it onto the stove, right? So she never taught me how to do that, but at some point I sat down with one of the ones she had made and I tried to copy the pattern from
Hmm.
looking at what she did and got
Yeah,
pretty close.
yeah. That's funny. I think those like our first inklings that we were going to end up being designers is reverse engineering somebody else's
Yeah, exactly.
pattern because I want to know how to do that. Yes. So all right, let's talk about what would you make. Okay, that's the mom in our life that taught us how to crochet.
Mhm.
In a long line of moms. What would you make your grandma if you were going to make her something?
Oh gosh, my grandma was very sparse in what she needed. Right? She didn't think that she needed much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that if I were to make her something, because I know I didn't, but I think if I were to make her something, it would be something she could use around the house,
Mm.
like a washcloth or a towel or something like that. What about
Yeah.
you?
I would either do a blanket or maybe a wrap, like a shawl wrap, something to keep her warm as she's sitting in her chair, because
Yeah.
she's got really bad arthritis now. And actually, this summer we're traveling to Wisconsin because she's turning 100 this year.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So I just remember her being this very tall lady in my life, and that she was always short anyway, but I'm short, and I just always remember her being this tall lady, and now she's no bigger than me, and I'm like 5 feet. I'm probably shrinking because of my back, but I mean, it took me so long to hit 5 feet in height. I mean, I was 4'11" forever. And I think that my grandma has shrunk down to like about the same size as me. She's just tiny and frail. And I think about wrapping her up and just keeping her warm.
Well, that blanket sounds like a wonderful gift.
Yes. But yeah,
Now, I did a lot of crocheting for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I did a lot of crocheting for my mom because she didn't crochet. So, I would make bags and things like that for her that she could carry her cross stitch in.
Yeah, my mom is my biggest fan, I think. She wants one of everything I make. And so she's got a bunch of my bags. I've knit her just a ton of socks. Let's see. I think one of the things that she gets the most use out of, though, is the book. I have it on my shelf. What's the Stitch and Bitch book? By
I think it's Debbie Stoller.
The Happy Hooker. Yeah, Debbie something. Anyway, there is a what are those called? A shrug from, those were really super popular in the early 2000s. There is one called Not Something Not. Anyway, I made her like 5 of these shrugs. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's Not Something Shrug. And I made them a little bit larger for her, because she was a little bit bigger at the time, and now she's shrunk down, so they fit her a bit bigger. But like, I put fun fur on them, and they're made where they're like large squares. So there's like, all it is just this like open sweater that you just put over the top of whatever you're wearing. It's really just an accent. But the compliments she gets on those things still, everybody absolutely like, oh my gosh, where did you get that sweater? It's so cute. And it's like, really? Wow, okay. So like, those are probably the best things I've ever made her.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about giving stuff to my grandma and my mom. Now, both of them have passed away, but they would brag to their friends.
Yeah.
My daughter made this. My granddaughter made this. That was their way of showing off their because I didn't live near either one of them.
Oh, sure.
So they would be able to show that off and say, that was my granddaughter or my mom.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have any of the stuff that I've made them back. I don't know what happened to all of that, but that I tried to always make something for them. Yeah. And like I said, for my grandma, probably thinks she could use around the house. She's very frugal. Didn't really wear anything different, but the same outfit all the time. Same with my mom. So, I'll never forget the story of my sister, who actually still lives in our hometown. One Christmas, she tried to get my mom some new clothes. And my mom, I don't know what it was. Mom would never wear anything but the same shoes, the same shirt, the same pants every day.
Wow.
And I don't know what happened when they wore out, whether she just had a stockpile somewhere.
5 of each of them, or?
I don't know. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking of ways to make her wearables, because I knew that wasn't gonna. Now, I do remember making her a winter scarf, because Missouri is pretty cold in the winter. Whether she used it or not, I don't know, but she had one.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. And so she's coughing. I'm yawning because like, this is the first time we've really talked today. And
we're just a mess.
I start talking, I'm super yawny. So I apologize, everybody.
The voice teacher in me would explain to you why that happens, because it's actually physiological. But we're not going to go down that road.
the whole
now
lesson.
We'll talk about, if you'd like to sing for this episode, I could show you how to do that. Anyway, now we've talked about some of the stuff we've made for our own moms and grandmas, but there are other things because moms everywhere, grandmas everywhere have different tastes and different likes. And I think the beauty of making something for a mom or a grandma or even a stepmom or a mother-in-law or someone of that nature,
Yeah.
any mom in your life is really trying to figure out what they like. What are their
Yeah.
favorite colors? What do you see them wearing? What do
Mhm.
you see them using around the house? Or have they said, people will drop hints they don't even know they're dropping hints.
Right.
I think maybe I should try a handmade washcloth or, I'm really not enjoying how much paper towels I'm using, that sort of thing. So you can kind of take cues from what they do and what they say,
Sure.
trying to figure out some special things to make with them. Like, here's one I think is really fun is a mini photo frame. And I'm actually this is going to
Ah,
be in the book that I'm writing, is where you take an existing frame like a 5x7 or a 6x8, and you make a little crochet border to go
oh,
around
how
the outside of it,
cute.
and then put a really special picture in it, either of, like, we always lived away from mom, so I could put a picture of us in it so that she could always see the extended family,
Yeah.
or one of the two of us, something that was really special to the two of us. And another one really cool, because there's so many of these options out there,
Mhm.
is to crochet flowers,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? So we always think about sending flowers to mom, but
Mhm.
what if we got a pretty little vase and created a single rose that's
Mhm.
everlasting?
Yeah. And you know what would be even more fun is if every year you crocheted one or two flowers to add to the bouquet.
Absolutely.
Like you
And maybe, I
perpetual
know
gift.
there are lots of patterns out there. My mom loved planting flowers. What if I were to crochet some of her favorite flowers that she could have indoors rather than
Yeah.
just outdoors?
Yeah, that would be pretty too. Another thing too that I think of is ways to, if you've got people who like to have potted plants, you could create some little sleeves for their potted plants to fit in if they don't have really cute vases or whatever. Not vases, but pots. Just a way to dress up, you know, their space or their space on their patio, whatever.
Right. Another cool idea, and it's really popular right now, is to do crocheted pouches,
Yeah.
zippered pouches. So if they crochet, they need a place to put their hooks,
Yes. Yeah.
scissors, all their notions and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Um, so my thing is granny squares, doing a granny square. I could even do a daisy granny square
Hmm.
on it and meld those two themes together for my mom. Um, and that way she would have a special place to hold her hooks or what other
Yeah,
notions
that's a
she
really
needs.
cute idea. Cute idea. Let's see. Oh, you
Well, you
mentioned
were talking about socks. Slippers and socks are really
slippers and
cool.
socks. That seems to be when people request something of me. It's either dishcloths or it's socks and slippers because most of my family's pretty practical. A lot of them they've already received like a blanket from me or whatever. And you can only have so many blankets in the house, but socks and slippers go a long way because, like, my father-in-law, he's going through a lot medically, so his feet are just constantly cold. And I know
Yeah.
that that's something that they're like, hey, if you're making a pair of socks, you know.
Yeah,
So I need to. There's a lot of things I need to jump on, but been waiting for my hands to feel better, and I'm waiting for that
exactly.
that Crojo to come back.
Oh man, I wish I could send you some vibes because I
I
got the
know.
Crojo all
Everybody
day,
send
all
me
night.
a Crojo.
Yeah, I'm zapping it over to you right now.
But yeah, so I mean, you don't have to make things for your mom. You don't. Although I think that moms who crochet appreciate those kinds of things on a different level than just your average gift recipient, I think.
Exactly.
But you can also purchase her things that might be um, special, something they wouldn't buy themselves. I know for myself, there's been a few things in the years going down the line that my husband and kids have purchased for me, like the yarn winder that I have, my cake maker. They went online and bought that for me one year, and my husband's bought me knitting needle sets and things like that. So there are things you can do. I know one thing you like is luxury yarn.
Oh man. I mean, I love doing cowls. And a cowl in a luxury yarn is just, it's
So
just like
nice.
love at your neck, right? So if you're going to spend, a fair amount of money on flowers or something,
Yeah.
go ahead and gift your mom or your grandma or that special crochet mom in your life
Uh-huh.
a couple of hanks of luxury yarn, DK weight, superwash merino or something like that.
Right.
Um, they probably won't splurge on that themselves. So
Yeah.
give it to them. And if they can't think of anything to make for themselves out of it, they can make something for you out of it.
There you go.
So
Since I know
buy
you
something
always
you
like
like.
to do projects, Mom.
Here you go, Mom.
Yeah.
You don't need any more whips. Um,
Right.
One of the really popular things out right now, I know you've seen them, and Etsy shops that do woodworking are starting to make them,
Mm-hmm.
are those, let me see if I can describe it. If I could walk off camera and go get mine, I would do it. But it's basically a thread your cake on this platform that hooks onto a strap on your arm,
Mm-hmm.
and you can take
And it
your
just
yarn
spins.
and go,
Yeah.
and it just spins. I just bought one that has like a shepherd's hook with a magnet that has a pole in the finest wood. I swear it's so gorgeous. And you hang
Uh-huh.
your cake from it, and
Yeah.
then it just freely spin. One of the things that drives me absolutely nuts, bananas, crazy while I'm crocheting is constantly having to yank my yarn out of the skein. It just wastes my time. And then if I yank too much out, I've got a big pile of tangle.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
The other
So
thing too is because you're talking about how it kind of you can do it from the outside as well as the inside.
Mhm.
Is that flippity floppity back and forth when you're
Yeah.
trying.
Oh gosh, I hate that. Oh my gosh, that's bleh. So anyway,
Yes.
you can take your cake, you can actually take your skein as well,
Uh-huh.
thread it on there, and it spins as it comes off and it
Yes.
maintains an even tension.
Much more elegant.
Those are super popular right now.
Yes.
And there are some I've seen that are take with you. They come in a fabric pouch
Yes.
where you can actually disassemble it,
Tear
and
it
you
down.
have
Yep.
just a very little piece of hardware with your yarn, but then you can assemble it, and then you're at the game or you're
Perfect
out
for
walking
baseball
around.
games. Perfect for
Right.
yes. Sitting at the beach, so you're because that's the other thing. Like people say, "Oh, well, just take your stuff to the beach." Do you know how sandy the beach is?
No.
So like that would be a way to keep your yarn and everything up out of the mess.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love that. Another thing that I love, oh, and I can't reach it. Man, I really came unprepared to this episode, did I not? Anyway, I go to fiber festivals on a regular basis. And one of my favorite vendors is called 3 Bags Full.
uh-huh.
She searches the worldwide for incredibly cool fabrics, printed fabrics.
Oh,
And they're high quality fabrics. And then she
uh-huh.
fashions them into these beautiful project bags.
Oh,
So they could
wow.
be big enough for a small granny square project.
Sure.
She's got some that are like a backpack or something like that. But she'll put beads on the zippers, things like that.
Oh, neat.
I have several of her bags, and There's another company that makes Japanese knot bags that are these beautiful fabrics that are gorgeous. You don't think to buy those for yourself. You
Yeah.
just stick something in a. My mother, God rest her soul, was the queen of the whip in a plastic grocery bag. I swear to you, I don't know how many years in a row I would give her a project bag for her cross stitch. Really beautiful. It's
Yeah.
the same with her clothes as with her cross stitch, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I've always put it in a grocery bag. I'm going to continue to put it in a grocery bag.
I'm sticking with what's
Oh
comfortable.
my gosh. Upgrade your experience, Mom. But I think that's a wonderful idea. Vera Bradley has project bags that are
Yeah.
really beautiful, that hold bigger projects. Lots of different places you can get project bags.
Some other fun things too that I just thought about while you were talking about that is you could get them the little faux leather tags to put on their items,
Mhm.
the little
Yeah.
wooden tags,
Yeah.
the little. I know some moms love to stitch inside, made by grandma, such and such a date. You can get a little tags like that. Some of that stuff, like it, sure they can buy it for themselves, but it's more fun to get it so that they don't have to.
Right. Yeah. We all use stitch markers.
Yes, stitch markers
There
are
are
always.
all these Etsy shops that sell custom stitch markers that have beautiful things on them.
Yeah, so
I
cute.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah, notions and extra things like that, those make great little gifts, you know. And so many times we think, oh, mom drinks coffee or mom drinks tea, we'll get her a mug. I mean, you can do that, but throw some little notions in there, like make it a cross culture gift.
There
Cross.
you go. Or make a mug cozy or a coaster or a matching
Yes,
set
that's even better. Even better. You got a book loving mom, make get her a new book.
with a
Make her
bookmark.
a bookmarker or a
Yep.
book sleeve or something to protect your book with. And there's so many fun things you could do.
Oh, yeah. I love the thought of subscription box. It's a great way to try new yarn.
Hmm.
Um,
And it is
to
one of those kind of luxury gifts too.
Yeah, it's in the same category as my luxury yarn
Hmm.
fetish. But every once in a while, I love to do a subscription box. And I know that would be a great gift for a crocheter.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
just to try something out, to try a new company, to get a taste of some yarn that you don't normally use.
Hmm.
And there are a number of companies out there who do them. I know Darn Good Yarn does one. I did that one for a while.
Yeah. Well, and
There are kits.
almost every indie dyer has got something like that.
Right, right. Yeah, and kits like Lion Brand and Annie's kits and things like that. They put together kits for putting together stuff.
For sure. I mean, and if you know, oh, my mom loves to make Afghans, or my mom loves to do this or that or the other, Hirschner's or Mary Maxim's, those places have got amazing little kits that you can get your, and just some, like some moms live on really, really tight budgets. And like they love to buy from things like Hirschner's and Mary Maxim's because it gives them everything they need in one spot, and they don't have to try and hunt all this stuff down.
Now, one thing we didn't mention were hooks, and I this one gives me a little moment of pause because my favorite hook, forever and ever, amen, is
Yeah.
the Susan Bates inline hook. There is no other hook, but I tried furls,
Hmm.
and my problem is this. This is hooks are like, I don't know, they're so very personal because of the way you crochet. So
Mhm.
this gift is a little bit of a caveat. For me, the reason why Susan Bates works so well is because it has a thumb rest and my thumb is there all the time. And it's
Uh-huh.
my guide to how that hook moves through the yarn.
I can't even find any of my
Furls does not have that. A lot of hooks don't have that. And what
Mhm.
I found was I couldn't guide the hook through the yarn because I kept rolling it. And
Okay.
with the thumb print, I didn't have that problem.
Isn't it
So
weird how we get our brains become so accustomed to the feel of something that muscle memory?
yes, yes. And Susan Bates at some point tried to change their hooks, and I went violently
Oh
um,
no.
into a fit over that. Now, Boy also
I'm a
has
boy
the same
girl.
kind of thumb, but that one has the I guess that's the inline hook. The one that I have, oh, I forget what these are called. I never can figure. This one is a straight line.
Yeah.
And so the hook is lined up and it has squared off edges so that
Yeah.
it catches the yarn better. The Boy has rounded edges, and I find I keep losing my yarn
Okay.
with those.
I think it's because I learned with a boy hook, and I've used both the Susan Bates and the boy. And if I'm in a desperate situation, I'll use a Susan Bates, but it's not my
Mhm.
favorite. I'm definitely a boy head.
Yeah.
But my favorite ones are the oh boy, uh
It's not the Clover or the Addie, is it?
the Clover. Thank
Yes?
you. Those
Yeah,
and the
those are
reason
really popular.
the reason why I switched over to those was because I couldn't squeeze the. I have, boy, do I get cramps when I try to hold on to this skinny thing. So I it's just because it has that little bit of padding on there. I don't have to hold the hook quite as tight
Right.
in order to maintain my tension.
Yeah.
So I had to switch over to something that had a little bit more of a padding to it, and I'm a sucker. I'm like, those are my hooks. And
Yeah.
I think I received those as a gift from a person who I just happened to. They were like, "I really like your stuff, and I've got some hooks I don't use. You want them?" And she mailed them to me. I'm like, "Oh,
Oh my
thank
gosh,
you."
that's awesome.
I know, and I'm like, I would probably not have bought them for myself because I'm so cheap. And it's not that they're super expensive, but everything for me, like I think about everything as being out of my price range just because I don't want to I'm so cheap. I don't want to spend money. But anyway, every once in a while you just have to. And if I have to, I'll spend it on things like that.
Yeah, now that brings up a good point. If you know what brand
Yeah.
your special mom likes, get her a new set,
Yes.
brand new set, or you can go to an Etsy shop and get a handmade yarn bowl with
Mm-hmm.
matching hooks.
Mm.
Um, they can be either wooden, they can be resin. My daughter one year found an Etsy shop that did a pottery yarn bowl,
Oh, how
and she
cool.
had Madame Stitch put on it.
Neat.
And it's is beautiful in my brand colors, no less.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
beautiful. Um, and yarn bowls are a great option as well. You know, even if you don't use that to hold your yarn while you crochet,
Yeah.
it's a great place to hold hooks or yarn from another work in progress or
Oh,
something.
for
There are
sure.
just all kinds of possibilities.
Oh, Dawn. Dawn says hi. She's late. She's gonna have to rewatch. We talked all about you, Dawn, and you weren't even here.
Yeah, I know. So, plus you've missed, you know, the muted coughing sessions and all of that stuff. So, gosh, it's been great.
No, we're so glad
But
you
we love
showed.
having you here, Dawn. Thank you. Um, oh, one thing we haven't talked about. Oh my gosh. We get most of our crochet information and patterns from digital these days, right?
Yeah.
So we buy a pattern on Ravelry or Etsy, or we use a free pattern on the blog, and everything is digital. But there are beautiful books still being
Oh,
published
heck
and
yeah.
offered by the designers themselves. That's a great way to support a designer as well as give something that's truly beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's a collection of patterns. Um, for instance, if you know that uh, your special crochet mom likes to crochet scarves,
Uh-huh.
find a designer who's done a book with scarves.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, now they are digital, but like they come, you could print it out and it would take a lot. But I will say this, you can go to places like Kinko's or what's the other one? Office Max or something like that. They've got printing services there, and you can have,
Staples will do it
yeah,
too.
you can have those books printed out as well. But yeah, there's so many cool things that get put together, and I am always, because all know how weird I am. I am always a huge proponent. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm a,
Proponent.
yeah, of buying books and having things in your library, because you just don't know, like, what happens if the whole world falls down and we don't have any internet anymore. You want to have something in your house that you can pass generation to generation, especially if you're raising up little ones that follow in your footsteps and want to make things like you. So
Exactly. We also, gift certificates are a fabulous idea.
gift certificates are the bomb.
The local yarn shop.
Heck yeah.
You can go to a specific designer if you know
Or
that
diner.
you're, well, that too. Yeah. But designer is more in the
Designers.
field of thought for today.
Yes.
But you can check with a favorite designer and say, hey, can I get a gift certificate? We're all thrilled when people do that.
Yes.
But
Oh,
gift certificate, that way they can choose what they want,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. I love gift certificates. Um, I love getting gift certificates and I love giving gift certificates just because they're simple. I don't have to try and figure out what you like ahead of
Yeah.
time. I mean, I'm one of those people who typically I will listen for cues in conversations we have as for what you like, just because that's kind of how I roll. But like, there's people in my life who I've lived with them for 30 some years and I'm married to him, and they just don't really listen to anything that you've said for the last 30 years. They have, they have no
That's a
idea what you're.
whole podcast episode, Biz.
It's a whole new one. But sometimes people don't listen to what and gift certificates.
Sorry, that just makes me laugh because this very thing happened. It may have been just this morning. I don't know. It's a daily occurrence in my household. But anyway, so those are some ideas for that. I mean,
Yeah,
just from the fact that we've spent 20 minutes talking about all of these things that you can gift to crochet moms who crochet,
yeah,
there's just there is no end to the possibilities. So be
no,
open. Even the most mundane things. I think you
yes,
said this, Biz. You can either replace something, you can
mm-hmm,
upgrade their experience, you can
mm-hmm,
give them something totally new.
yeah,
And they will be every crocheter is most appreciative of anything crochet related.
yeah,
Trust me on this one.
yeah. And it's that it really is the thought that counts, because the fact that you thought of me enough to give me a gift is, I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So,
Now, before we run out of time,
right,
we can
yeah,
also give experiences,
yes,
right?
hmm there are.
So
Okay, so like it depends on how bougie your budget is. But you could sign them up for one of these. I know that Mikey and the Crochet Crowd, they go on several cruises or adventure destination crochet and knit things at least twice a year. At least once a year, if not twice a year. But you could do a destination thing like that. I know that there are other places and people who have like crochet on the beach or crochet on the
Right.
veranda, whatever. But there's things all over the place that if you've got the budget to do it, you could really give them an experience.
And do it with them. Go off
Yes.
on this adventure with them, right? So you could you could do the retreat, you could do a class or a workshop together.
Uh-huh.
That would be a ton of fun if you live in the same locale.
Take
My
them
daughter and I
to
will
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, my daughter and I often go to craft fairs and fiber festivals together.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Um,
fiber festivals would be a great place to take somebody.
right, we live driving distance to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, which is
Oh,
happening this
fun.
weekend. And we also live driving distance to Rhinebeck in New York, which is arguably the largest fiber festival in the United States.
Yeah,
So we have the opportunity to go up there and make a day of it or make a weekend of it. It's
right.
fabulous.
Don't they have I could be wrong. Don't they have like big fiber um almost like a oh my god, Biz, product shows, like when you go in and you it's not really a fiber festival, it's more of like a oh my god.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. New
Like
York
when it's a
Vogue
camping.
has the Vogue Knitting Live
Yeah, things
does
like
one in
that.
January. We
Oh,
went to
that sounds
that
like
for a
really
number of years in New York City, where for the weekend they just take a big convention hall type of setting.
expos.
And
That
yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
where
Yeah, and I can't
yeah,
remember.
it's
Did
not.
they used to have some of those?
I think that's what you mean by the Vogue Knitting Live. I mean, there were all
Okay.
kinds of stalls, fiber related. They'd have a
Oh
fashion
yeah.
show with garments that were made from some of the visiting companies'
Okay.
yarns.
Okay.
Um, they'd teach classes.
Okay.
I don't know if they called that an expo, but that kind of fits the definition.
Yeah. I guess I thought that there was two a year. There was like one in the west and there was one in the east, and maybe those got shut down. I don't
Well, there
know.
used to be TNNA.
Oh, maybe that's it.
That was a trade show where it was
That's
more
the word
for
I was looking
business
for, was
owners.
trade show.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
However, as it so happens, tomorrow morning I'm leaving for Chicago for H&H Americas,
Okay.
which is the replacement for that. So
Gotcha.
um, I'm going to be sitting in on some business classes for
Uh-huh.
a day, and then when the exhibitor floor opens up, you can try and buy yarns from some of the leading companies that come
Cool
visit.
beans.
You can make connections, business connections, form relationships, work on getting some collaborations, that sort of thing.
Sure.
So I remember TNNA because our local yarn shop owner and her daughter would go to TNNA, and that's where they would find all of the yarns that they were going to carry for the next 2 seasons. And they would place orders for that. So it would happen twice a year,
Uh-huh.
spring and winter. And
Uh-huh.
they would go and order all of the yarn for their shop at that
Gotcha.
trade show. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad to see that they're coming back because I think things like that are so fun to go to. And the only trade shows I ever got to go to really in my youth were HVAC because that was what my dad did. And so we
Yeah.
would do a lot of we would do a lot of trade shows. But I always loved running around with my little bag and you could get all the little free little goodies that they were giving out throughout the whole thing.
You get
That's
your freebies.
yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Don says take lots of money.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's Sorry, that's why God invented credit cards. So uh, anyway,
That's
bef- the last thing that we have on the list is a museum or an art gallery. I know that every once in a while, a museum close by will have an exhibit on fiber arts. There was one not that long ago where an entire um, marine life
oh
display
yeah,
was crocheted. Right, so
I
there
remember
are
seeing that.
Mobius and
Hmm.
they'll do art installations that are made out of crochet, free form crochet,
Hmm.
that sort of thing. And those are so cool to go visit.
Yeah, they're beautiful. It just trips me out to see what people come up with. Like,
Yeah.
I just because I look at it and I go, "What in God's green earth made you think of that?"
Well, talk about re-engineering something, reverse
Yeah,
engineering something. There's
yeah,
no way
no,
that is not happening in any universe. No.
no. You're right, Don. That would be a lot of fun. Alrighty. So yeah, those are some ideas for you to honor the moms who crochet in your life. And oh, although I see something on here, honoring her crochet legacy. Um, there are some people who have really, really interesting lives, and there are some people who have very, very simple lives. But I think it's important to record all of it because it's the history of your family. Like on one side of my family, I have the World War II. They met after he became part of the occupational forces in Germany. She was a war bride. They came over here. My mom is a first generation American, etc., etc., etc. She was part of the work camps in Germany and stuff like that. So there's like this huge story over here. And then I've got this other side of my family where they are just like I don't know how many generations back go, but just these simple German um, immigrants who farmed. And the big
Mhm.
stories from them are like my dad telling me stories about my grandpa farming with horses and all of that kind of stuff, and just that one of my grandpas apparently had a lot of money before the fall of the 29, and then lost everything. Like that's the big stories on that side. It's still part of your history, and
Yeah,
taking a minute to gather her legacy, gather her story in one place. And whether crochet has a huge part or a small part of it, it's important for those things to be carried on.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, that was a lot.
That's okay. That's really cool.
But yeah, I mean, I think family stories are super important.
Mhm. I agree.
But anyhow, alrighty. So, is there anything else that you can think of?
I think we've got this subject covered. I mean, if your special mom, no matter what generation she
Mhm.
is a crocheter, you know what she likes because you know what you like. So
Good. Yeah,
you know what you're willing
you
to
got
buy
a good
and what's a
idea.
stretch item. It's probably the same for them too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how big or small, it's the thought that counts. And I know that if you make it or you purchase it, it will be much treasured.
Yes. Yes. I absolutely agree. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and close this out. The last thing we're going to talk about. What have you been watching this week?
Oh gosh. I've been so tired in the evening with this stupid cold that I've kind of been checking out and letting my husband watch baseball. He
I
must
was
think he's
wondering if he
died
was
and gone
able
to
to watch
heaven, right? So, it's the usual. You eat dinner, you watch Jeopardy, you watch maybe some Big Bang Theory, then you move on to a procedural. No, it's just straight to baseball. It's like I don't even have the energy to care.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that in the near future there are some phenomenal shows that I see lined up. Oh, I know one that I did start watching because I was not feeling well. I actually did treat myself. This is terrible. I treating myself is not really the right way to say it, but um, last Saturday I sat down in my chair with the blanket all draped over me, and I
Uh-huh.
started watching this new, I think it's Apple TV show called Government Cheese.
Okay.
Holy cow! It blends all of these weird elements into one show. But let me see if I can
Oh,
paint you a picture. I don't know if you remember a few years ago with Scarlett Johansson and Tom Hanks, this movie that was called Asteroid, and it was all done in. It looked like it was done on a desert. It was very
no.
oranges and very stylized in a like a 50s setting.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do remember
Right.
that.
Okay. So
Yes.
Government Cheese is about this guy who went to jail because of petty theft. And
Okay.
he, of course, left his family behind. His wife thinks he's just a jerk. He's got one son who idolizes the very ground he walks on, and the other one who also thinks he's a ne'er do well.
Uh-huh.
But he all of a sudden gets out of jail, and while he's been in prison, he's developed this product, a drill, and the bit sharpens itself so it's never dull. So,
Oh,
as you use a drill bit, it starts to dull, you have to
right.
replace it or,
Yeah.
excuse me, sharpen it. He has invented this one that doesn't ever dull. So he's decided that this is going to be his job when he gets out of jail. He arrives back at home, and his wife barely has the time of day for him. And you start to see these interactions in his family, his
Mm-hmm.
interactions in the community, and it's all very 50s stylized. Um, I don't know. I find it hilarious and anger inducing. It's like, come on, can you not just give this at the same time?
Yes. Yes.
But I don't know, it's just a really fun show. It's an hour-long show. I don't know where it's headed, but right now he's trying to get his old thieving buddies, his robbery buddies, to help him convince this company in town that
Okay.
they need to carry his drill.
Yeah. Mm.
It's not going well, to say the least. So,
It's funny that you say that about the 50s. I absolutely love mid turn of the century, like the look, the aesthetic, the all of that
yeah,
stuff.
the white Oxford shirt and the
Yes,
the belted pants and the
the
loafers.
furniture, everything, like the
Yeah,
decorations. I just
it's
love it.
totally 50s.
But when I watch stuff that's set in the 50s, it's because of how women are treated, basically. Um, that like Mad Men. My husband absolutely loved that show, and it's set basically in that era of advertisement. Couldn't watch it. Just wanted to punch the screen. Cannot watch stuff like that. It makes me so angry that, and my poor husband.
Yeah.
So I just like, you know what? You watch it on your own time. You can enjoy it. I don't care. I'm not gonna pick at you for enjoying that, but don't ask me to watch it.
Well, thankfully, this show doesn't seem to have elements of that in it.
That's good.
It's just the aesthetic,
Uh-huh.
not necessarily the lifestyle. So,
Yeah, that's good. Cause I can't. Oh, excuse me. I can't do it. I just. Makes me want to
so what
punch
have
them.
you been watching?
What if I? Oh me, gosh. So we're steady on the NCIS because that is our go to bed TV show. So have to admit I've slept through maybe one or two episodes, but I'm still I'm enjoying it, and I don't mind it being turned on. So I really am hoping that I can actually make it all the way through, even to the point where they like start changing the people over and bringing in new people. But let's see. Other than that, I have been really hung up on disaster documentaries, and by that I mean I've been watching like there's something on Netflix called Earthscapes or something like that. Um, and it talks about, like, yesterday was tornadoes and floods. Today I'm not sure what I'm going to learn about, or volcanoes. And so I don't know why I'm watching these things. Find them very interesting. I've watched 3 Mile Island and Vietnam, and so I just find
Wow.
all of that stuff very, very interesting.
Cool.
I am fascinated by the nuclear meltdown stuff. Like, I've watched the Chernobyl story probably 3 times now.
Man.
Don't ask me why. I'm a weirdo.
I didn't ask you why. That's okay.
She's like, no, please.
No.
Yourself. I don't want to know. So yeah.
No, I'd love to know, but you don't need to explain it to me.
No, it's
But
just it's just a weird fascination that I have. I don't know why. I just always have. So anyway, with that, we're gonna say bye because you already know all that you need to know about us for this week, and we hope you guys had a good time. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us and chit chatting with us.
Enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's okay. There wasn't. I mean, there's nothing you can't pick up on the other end. But we hope that you guys have an amazing week and a great weekend. Next weekend we're going to be here talking about what is that? Not honor. What is it?
We're pampering moms.
Pampering.
So it's not just honoring the moms who crochet. It's any
Right.
mom. How are we going to pamper them? Yes.
Absolutely. So it's another.
It'll be a little bit of a continuation of this week, a little bit, because there's some crossover.
Because next Friday is the Friday before Mother's Day. So, yay.
All right.
My loves, you have a wonderful time. Anything else you want to say, Miss Madam Stitch? No? All right. You guys have a great week.
I don't think so.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.